All right, guys, I'm going to sum this up really, really quickly. If you are still defending Black Lives Matter, then you have allowed yourself to be brainwashed by the mob. So here's the deal. They have lied about every single case that they have cited this year. George Floyd, we found out from the coroner that he died from too much fentanyl in his system. We also found out that the coroner is a political hack, but his discovery is still that the fentanyl in his system was the cause of death. We also found out that he requested to be on the ground. He was complaining of not being able to breathe the entire time. I wonder if that's because of the amount of fentanyl in your system. And we found out that the officer knew him and was incredibly gentle with him. The only problem on an officer's fault was the police department was still training on a tactic that they were not supposed to be training on. That is the only thing that BLM got right. Everything else about it they got wrong. And guess what? People died, cities were burned, and people have lost jobs because of lies. We go to Rashard Brooks, which would, I think, in terms of the timeline, was the next one, just down the road from me in Atlanta. The claim was the officers came up and just randomly shot him in his car. That is not what happened. When you look at the case and the detail that we have, what actually happened was he was drunk. He fell asleep drunk in a Wendy's parking lot. And the police officers came. The interaction was going well. He did a breathalyzer and things were going fine. And he suddenly flipped violent. He started attacking the two officers. He grabbed an officer's taser and ran for it. And you could say, oh, a taser's not a lethal weapon. Actually, the DA that went after these officers said just the other week that it was a lethal weapon. So some hypocrisy there. Even further than that, though, how do you know he didn't think it was a gun? He might have thought he was grabbing a gun. Because very often in these types of interactions, they reach for the gun. And when they get the gun, officers are dead. And either way, he shot at the officer with the taser. Everything they told you about Rashard Brooks was a lie. Jacob Blake, everything they told you was a lie. It turns out that Jacob Blake was being a predator and he was going after someone that he had previously sexually assaulted. And that woman, who had a legal restraining order on him, called the cops and said, hey, this dude is breaking his restraining order. Please come take him away from me. I'm scared. They came. They did what they were supposed to. They protected a black woman. They did everything that they were supposed to do. And what do we hear? The cops were hunting him down. He was walking away and he reached in his car and he wasn't even armed. Well, there was a knife on the floor, so we don't really know what to suspect about that. And we can't tell you how many times. There's tons of footage of officers who get shot because someone else reaches in their car and gets a gun. And we just found out about Breonna Taylor. Turns out her boyfriend started shooting first. And they did announce themselves. So chew on that for a little bit. Every case they have cited this year is false. And if you are still defending Black Lives Matter, you have no compassion for the officers or the people in the cities that are getting destroyed. Bye.